All right, hi guys. I'm Angie, and welcome to my channel. I just want to give you guys a quick introduction on who I am and what I do. So I drive for Uber as well as for Lyft. I've been driving for Uber for a little over 3 months now, and I've been driving for Lyft for about a month. And I do it part-time. I drive part-time. I work full-time as a microbiologist. I work in quality control testing at a pharmaceutical company. And so, and I have a 40-mile commute one way to work. And so on my way home from work, I'll just turn the app on. I'll turn both apps on, and I'll just take ride requests coming home just to pick up a few extra bucks to kind of make up for all these miles that I'm already driving. Let me try to make some money out of it. So that's why I do rideshare driving right now. And as I mentioned, I do it part-time. Just coming home from work Monday through Friday. Sometimes I'll drive on the weekends. Other days, like today, I'll just chill. And that's one of the things that I like about rideshare driving, is that we can set our own schedule as a driver. We don't have to be on the road 9 to 5 every day, or okay, you said you're going to be there these hours, you have to be here out there available taking rides between these hours. No, it's nothing like that. We set our own schedules. If we want to change it, we can change it at any time. If we don't want to drive today, guess what? We don't have to drive today. And so I just love the flexibility of it, and it works well with my schedule and as well as my situation, because like I said, I have such a long commute on the way home from work that it just makes sense to me. Use that time wisely and make some money out of it. I drive a 2012 Honda Civic. I get great gas mileage with it, so the whole situation, it just works well for me. Another reason why I do it is because, let's say I turn on both apps on my way home from work, and I get all the way home and I didn't get any requests. That rarely happens, but let's just say it happened. Because I had my app on and I was available to accept requests that whole time, I can write off that whole 40 miles. And so at the standard mileage deduction rate for taxes, let's see, 40 miles times 0.575. The standard deduction, mileage deduction for taxes is 57.5 cents. So at 40 miles, that is $23 that I can write off on my taxes out of my Uber and my Lyft income, because I drove those miles and I was available to accept requests. So those are all tax deductible. So that's another reason why I do it too, because as I mentioned, even if I don't get a ride, I can still write off that mileage that I am available to accept requests. And so it's just awesome. The whole situation works out really well for me. And those are some of the main reasons why I got into doing it. Now, this channel is going to be about my awesome passenger stories that I receive. I mean, sometimes people get in and they just want to open up and tell you their life stories, and it can be very entertaining at times. And sometimes I'm just like, why should I be the only one to experience all of this joy? I need to share this. The world needs to hear these stories, because these are some of the most funny and entertaining stories out there. And so basically, that's what my channel is going to be about, is my passenger stories. All names will be changed to protect identities, unless someone specifically wants to be called out. Like, yeah, shout me out. Give me my Twitter handle. Tell them who I am. Unless they say that, I will be changing all names and in my passenger stories. But that's what this channel is going to be, strictly my Uber and my Lyft. So that's just a quick intro video, and I'm going to give you guys just a quick little story just to kind of jump in to the story mix here and let you guys know what to expect from me. going forward. But I had, oh, I'll do that next time. I had a passenger that I picked up yesterday. We shall call her Lisa. And I got this request from Lisa. I had just dropped off a passenger, and I was driving. There were a lot of one-way streets where I was at, and so I was trying to get back to the main road, and so the request came in, and I'm not really paying attention to my phone. I'm just like, okay, there's another request in the area. I saw how far away they were, and that's all I looked at, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take it. And I clicked it, I accepted the request, and then I went into navigation mode. And so once I got to an area that I was familiar with, or got back on the main road, basically, I went back into my Uber app, and I looked at the passengers rating, and they had a 4.0 passenger rating. Now, the rating system is a 5-star rating system. And so you might be thinking, if you're not familiar with how Uber and Lyft run, you might be thinking like, oh, 4 stars out of 5, that's good, right? That's what I thought when I first started driving, or when I first started using it. I actually used Uber and Lyft before I started driving for them. And I was like, oh, 4 stars, that's decent. That's a decent rating. That's not bad, right? Wrong. It's bad. It's bad. And you'll start to notice that when you start driving. Most of your passengers are going to have ratings of 4.8 and up. 4.8, 4.9, 5.0. That's going to be where the majority of your passengers sit. Now, if you have somebody who has taken a ton of rides and they've got like a 4.4 passenger rating, they probably have some issues either with making their driver wait too long before they come out, or not getting their location right, or something like that. Most of the passengers, I haven't experienced any just downright rude passengers. Most of them are quite pleasant. And so yeah, so I'm looking at this 4.0 star, and I was like, oh, I really should have paid attention to this before I accepted this ride. But it's like, okay, it's cool. Worst case scenario, they are like a chronic late person, and I'll arrive and I'll wait my 5 minutes, and then I'll cancel, and then I'll get my $5 cancellation fee as I'm speeding off into the sunset. So I pulled up, and Lisa and her friend, they were standing there right on the porch ready to go. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's see what it is. And so they get in, they both up in the back seat, and we're off to our destination. They had already entered in their destination, which was great. And so we were off. We were driving, and we were about 5 minutes into the ride. We had started off like joking and laughing. We were having great conversation. And I was just like, okay, how often have you used Uber? Because I'm thinking in my mind, okay, either she's new and she's only used it maybe one other time, and she had a newbie experience where a lot of people using the app for the first time, they don't really know what's going on, and so they'll make some errors that might be a little irritating to a driver, and so they might rate them lower. I'm like, well, that's got to be it, because you're a nice person. She was a nice person. And so I'm like, okay, how long have you, and they're like, oh, we use Uber all the time. And I'm like, okay. And then, I just hit them with it. I'm like, usually I don't bring up someone's rating unless it's really good. And I'm like, hey, you have a perfect 5-star rating. You're awesome. And that usually breaks the ice with quiet people, because they're like, oh, we get rated. Some of them are like, oh, I didn't know we got rated. And other ones are like, really? That's pretty cool. Yeah. And then they start talking about that. So that's cool. That's a nice tip to break the ice out there if you are watching this and you are a driver. But, so I was like, yeah, and And I was like, yeah, don't take this the wrong way, but your passenger rating, I was like, you got a 4-star passenger rating out of 5. And she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, no, that's actually pretty bad. And she's like, is it? And so I told her, I was like, yeah, like usually around 4.8 and up is decent. So a 4.0, that's usually pretty bad. And she's like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. I've never had any bad experiences. And then her friend is like, well, we always use my account. He's like, I wonder what my rating is. And she's like, yeah, I've only used this account a couple times. I'm like, okay, so we're getting closer. You've only used it a couple times. That means that if one driver rated you really bad for whatever reason, that's going to affect your rating a lot more than if you had taken like 100 rides before this and you're still averaging a 4.0 star rating. And so I was like, okay, well, what happened? And she's like, I mean, still the ride went well. Like, I don't know why anyone would rate me. And then she's like, wait a minute, maybe it was that time I used it and we were in DC and I had really bad service and I dropped a pin. I'm like, oh, you dropped a pin. Oh, I need to do an episode on my driver pet peeves. Pin dropping. That is it's up there in my top 3 list of driver pet peeves. But anywho, so she's like, and I dropped a pin and the location services were kind of off. And my GPS put me like 2 blocks from where I was. But, she's like, I didn't know because I didn't know the area. And so, basically the driver got to where the pin said I was and I wasn't there. And I had to call him and kind of let him know where we were. And so he pulls up when we get in the car and I could tell he was kind of annoyed. And I was like, that's it. That is it right there. So, passenger Uber riding 101. If you are a Uber passenger or a Lyft passenger, please, if you can get an address, please do your best to get an address. Like, if you're at a restaurant, you don't know what the address is, like, Google that restaurant, find out what the address is. Please, at all costs, try not to drop a pin, because my GPS, I know it, like, that's going to be another pet peeve of mine, my GPS, but I digress. I'm totally going to do a pet peeve episode. I am. I think that, oh my gosh, that would probably be like a 1-hour episode because I could just go on and on about this crap. But anyways, please, if you have to drop a pin, at least drop the driver a text message and let them know exactly where you are, because your GPS isn't always going to get it right. So if you can enter in the address, please do that at all costs. Please. Thank you. And so, yeah, so that's what we determined that it was, that he must have rated her low, and her average was still kind of low because she hadn't taken that many rides yet. And I was like, well, I'm going to give you guys a 5-star because you're awesome. And that'll hopefully raise your rating up some. And hopefully it won't affect you getting rides, because they weren't in the greatest neighborhood where I picked them up from. And so if you have that, a sketchy neighborhood on top of a not that great passenger rating, drivers are more likely to pass up that request. Like, I'm not even going for that one. I'm good. So just a little tip there for passengers out there. But other than that, that was fine. Lisa ended up being a great passenger, her and her buddy. I'll call him Bob. Lisa and Bob, they were awesome. But that is just one of my passenger stories where we get hit with the question of to accept or not to accept a ride. When I saw her passenger rating, I could have canceled that ride. I had another passenger where I did the same thing. I kind of accepted the ride without paying attention to the rating. This person had a 1-star rating. Now, Uber starts you off with a 5-star rating. So for you to get down to a 1-star, you're averaging a 1-star rating. that takes some pretty impressive suckiness. Like, you have to suck 10 times in a row, and everybody gave you a 1, and that's just how bad you suck. And so I don't know why I didn't cancel the ride when I looked and saw it, but I was almost there. And so I was like, well, whatever. I got to the place. I waited. I did my 1-minute countdown. I texted them when I got there. Said, hey, I'm right up front when you're ready. And I got no response. And I'm like just staring at the clock, waiting on that 5 minutes. 4 minutes and 59 seconds. I texted it again. And I was like, hey, you can request a ride when you're ready to go. There will be other cars available. Have a nice night. And I canceled that ride, and I got out of there with the quickness because I did not want to stick around. But sitting there and waiting and not hearing from them at all at any point in time, that's why, most likely why you were rated so low. And then you probably got in the car like, what's your problem? Like, aren't you supposed to sit here and wait for me? This is what I'm playing out in my mind as I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, how is it possible? And I really wish I had gotten that person, actually, so that would have been a good story. But yeah, 1 star, I've never seen that before. I had never seen that before. I've never seen anybody even close to a 1 star. I got somebody with a 3.5 star, and she was also new. She didn't know what she was doing. And so that's why she had a lower rating. But she was the sweetest person. She was so nice. But she was the lowest rated person I've ever driven. This 1 star person, I never saw them. I never talked to them because they didn't respond. I just canceled on them. I got my $5 cancellation fee and I got up out of there. So, but anywho, that is it. I am about to shut this down. But if there are any other drivers out there and you have any low passenger rating stories, like let's say you got a 2-star or a 3-star passenger and they really ended up being a 2 or a 3-star passenger, let me know why. Like, let me know what happened in the comment section, because I kind of want to get to the bottom of this low passenger rating system, because like I said, all of my riders have been decent people. Like, I haven't had any jerks, and everybody's been cool. You know, they're just trying to get to where they need to go. And so people aren't going to get in your car and act crazy on you when all you have to do is kick them out. Like, hey, get out. And so people get in, they're nice, and then you get them to where they need to go. And it's like, great, have a nice day. And so I'm really curious if you have had, or if you have rated, the lowest I've ever rated somebody is a 4-star. And that's because, you know, they had me waiting a long time or whatever. So if you've ever rated someone like a 1, 2, or a 3-star, whether you were a passenger rating your driver or you were a driver rating your passenger, drop me a comment. Let me know why. I want to see these stories and see what's going on with this rating system out there. But other than that, that is it for today. So thank you guys for watching. As I mentioned before, if you have any comments, any questions for what it's like driving for Uber or anything like that, drop me a comment, let me know, or drop me an email, angiedrives@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. And I'm trying to see if I have everything on my list that I wanted to say. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching. Thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you hated it. And if you absolutely hated it, just go ahead and you can click in, I guess it would be this corner. You can just click that little X in the box in the corner, and you will never have to see this space ever again. But if you do like it, subscribe. Click the little subscribe link. And stay tuned for future episodes we have coming up. We're going to have a lot of fun on this channel, so stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.